Did you know that the USA has more than just 50 states? That's right, folks. We're not just talking about the stars on the flag, we're venturing beyond, into the realm of territories and commonwealths. The USA in all its glory technically boasts a grand total of 56 states and territories. Think of that next time you're trying to impress someone with your geographical knowledge. It's a fun fact that might just win you that trivia night. Surprised? Wait until you hear more. Ever wondered how big the USA really is? Let's put this into perspective. If you thought the USA was just a modest country, think again. It's like the guy at the party with a hat so big, it could be its own weather system. The USA is the third largest country by land area, trailing behind Russia and Canada. And it's not just about the size, folks. The USA is so diverse that it's like a world tour packed into one country. From the tropical climes of Hawaii to the frosty peaks of Alaska, from the arid deserts of Arizona to the lush wetlands of Florida, the USA has every type of climate you can think of. It's like Mother Nature's buffet, and she's serving up a bit of everything. Now, if you're thinking, well, surely California has the longest coastline, what with all those beach bods and surfboards, you'd be mistaken. You see, the Golden State might have the Hollywood glitz and glamour, but it's Alaska that's the true coastline king. Alaska, with its frosty charm and grizzly bears, has a staggering 33,000 miles of coastline. That's more than twice the circumference of the Earth. So if California is a beach party, Alaska is the entire festival. And speaking of Alaska, did you know that it's so big if you cut it in half, Texas would be the third largest state? Yep, Texas, you heard it right. You may have the cowboy hats, but Alaska's got the size. So next time you're planning a beach vacation, don't just think about the sun-kissed shores of Florida or the surfer's paradise of California. Consider Alaska, with its endless beaches, stunning wildlife and majestic mountains. Who knows, you might find that the best beach vacation is one with a chance of snow. So if you're a beach lover, maybe consider Alaska for your next vacation. Do you know what Americans do that the rest of the world finds weird? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into some of the quirkiest cultural habits you'll find in the land of the free and home of the brave. Let's start with one of America's most beloved culinary concoctions, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This sweet and salty delight is a staple in every American kid's lunchbox. But to the rest of the world, the idea of combining a nutty spread with sugary fruit gel on bread is, well, a bit nuts. Then we move on to America's love affair with ice. Yes, you heard me right, ice. Americans seem to have an insatiable desire to have their drinks chilled to a near-Arctic level. Whether it's a soda, iced tea, or even water, you can bet it'll be served with a mountain of ice. If you're from somewhere that prefers room temperature beverages, this might give you a bit of a cold shock. And let's not forget about America's unique tipping culture. In many countries, tipping is considered a nice bonus, a little extra thank you for good service. But in the United States, it's not just appreciated, it's expected. Waitstaff, bartenders, taxi drivers, they all rely on tips as a significant part of their income. And the standard? That's typically 15 to 20% of the bill. So, if you're from a country where tipping isn't customary, this might seem a bit excessive. But hey, that's America for you. A place where sandwiches are sweet, drinks are icy, and the tipping culture can leave you feeling a bit tipsy. It's a land full of quirks and eccentricities, but that's part of what makes it so fascinating. So, if you're visiting the USA, don't forget to tip. And maybe try a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while you're at it. Who knows? You might just find yourself developing some American quirks of your own. Who was the youngest president in US history? Now don't rush to say JFK, it's a common misconception. The youngest president to ever grace the Oval Office was actually Teddy Roosevelt. He took the reins at the ripe old age of 42 after the unfortunate demise of President McKinley. JFK, who's often thought of as the youngest, was actually a year older when he was inaugurated. So if you're eyeing the presidency and you're not yet 42, chin up, there's still hope. Now let's talk about the man on the $1 bill, the first president of the United States, George Washington. Fun fact, despite his prominent place in US history, Washington never actually lived in the White House. It wasn't completed until after his presidency. He must have felt a bit left out, don't you think? Speaking of homes, did you know that the US once bought a gigantic piece of real estate for just 2 cents an acre? Yes, you heard it right. The year was 1867, and the purchase was called Seward's Folly. Today, we know it as Alaska. Russia was the seller and probably kicking themselves now for giving up all that oil and gold for pocket change. Seward, the US Secretary of State at the time, must have had a fantastic real estate agent, and here's one for the books. The Liberty Bell, that iconic symbol of American independence, has a typo. Yes, a typo. Pennsylvania is misspelled Pennsylvania on the bell. Seems like even the founding fathers could have used a bit of spell check. Last but not least, let's talk about the Star-Spangled Banner. Did you know it was written during the War of 1812 but only became the national anthem in 1931? That's over a century of being anthemless. Imagine all those sports events without a song to belt out at the beginning. And that's a bit of history for you. From young presidents to real estate bargains, typos on national symbols, and a tardy national anthem, the history of the United States is as quirky and fascinating as the country itself. Can you guess what common item was invented in America? Now, before you start thinking about the iPhone or maybe even the electric guitar, let's take a step back to the basics. Let's talk about the real game changers. Imagine a world without airplanes. No, we're not talking about a world where everyone has superpowers and can fly. We're talking about a world where your vacation in Paris would mean a long, tedious boat ride instead of a quick flight. Thanks to the Wright brothers, two bicycle mechanics from Ohio, we're able to crisscross continents in mere hours. Now, let's move on to something that's probably the most important invention of the 21st century, the internet. Yes, the World Wide Web, that magical place where cat videos and memes reign supreme. You might be surprised to learn that the internet was actually a product of the Cold War. It was created by the US Department of Defense as a communication network that could survive a nuclear war. Talk about an overachievement. But America's inventive spirit didn't stop at revolutionizing travel and communication. It extended to the world of gastronomy as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the chocolate chip cookie. Yes, you heard that right. The chocolate chip cookie, that crumbly, melt-in-your-mouth heavenly delight, was invented in America. In the 1930s, Ruth Graves Wakefield, a dietitian and food lecturer, ran out of regular baker's chocolate while making cookies. So she chopped up a block of semi-sweet chocolate, hoping it would melt and spread throughout the dough. Instead, it held its shape, creating a cookie with chunks of chocolate throughout. And thus, the chocolate chip cookie was born. So, whether it's flying to your dream destination, scrolling through the infinite abyss of the internet, or simply indulging in a delicious cookie, remember, it's all thanks to the innovative minds of America. So next time you're enjoying a cookie, you know who to thank. So, what did we learn today? Well, let's take a quick trip down memory lane, shall we? We started by exploring the vast terrains of the United States, a country that technically comprises 56 states and territories. From the snow-capped peaks of Alaska to the sun-kissed beaches of Florida, it's a nation of impressive size and climate diversity. Next, we delved into the cultural quirks that make the USA unique, whether it's their love for a good old-fashioned barbecue or their inexplicable fascination with reality TV. Americans sure know how to keep things interesting, and let's not forget the infamous freedom jokes. Yes, they love their freedom, and they certainly don't mind poking fun at it. From there, we took a detour to the past, unearthing some fun historical facts. Remember the part where we discovered that the USA is younger than many of the world's oldest trees? Talk about putting things into perspective. And of course, we ended with a look at some of the world's greatest inventions that we owe to American ingenuity. Hello, internet and airplanes. It's hard to imagine a world without these innovations that have literally changed the way we live and connect. There you have it, some fun facts about the USA. Hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for more fascinating facts.